Hey everybody, we're going to go ahead and talk about how to multiply matrices by hand. So we talked about doing it in Desmos, we already talked about scalar multiplication, but let's go focus on actually doing this by hand. So with this, we're going to go through it, and if it's too much for you, you can't understand what's going on, or you get like lost in it, guys, that's perfectly fine. Again, we're going to show you how to do it in TI-84 calculator in a few minutes, and then you'll also you already know how to do it in Desmos. So with that, if you're taking the ACT, you have the 84 calculator video coming up, so you can actually watch that, or even watch it while we're doing class. Or you can actually do it by hand if you can remember it, and then go from there. So it's gonna be great, guys. It's gonna be great. All right. So with this, when we come to multiplying it, the first thing we said first off, before we do any type of multiplication, we have to have the dimensions to match up in the right way. Not necessarily be the exact same dimensions, but they have to match up in the right way. So remembering this again, our matrix 1A here is row 1, there's one row, sorry, and then 3 columns. Remember that's 1 row by 3 columns. So the dimensions are 1 by 3. 1 row, 3 columns. For our B matrix, we said, okay, this is 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3 rows. And we have 1 column happening here. So those are our dimensions of the two functions, or 2 matrices. Now, we said in order to be able to work out this matrix, to be able to multiply it, this one thing must happen. Well, these things must happen. These two numbers here on the inside must be the same number. If they are the same, we can continue working on this problem. We can actually multiply it out. So since they are the same, both of them are 3, we said the dimensions of our answer matrix will be the parts that are left over. So our answer for dimensions, our dimensions for our answer matrix, blah, 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 is going to be a 1 by 1. So 1 by 1. And let me do it like this so it doesn't look like absolute value bars. So it's a 1 by 1. So when we actually do this problem, our final answer should be a 1 by 1 matrix. So let's go for that. So again, this one's going to have some work on it. So with it, stay with me and everything. I got you. All right, so we're going to take a look at these matrices. And when we multiply them, we're going to be multiplying a row by a column. A row by a column. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at this row here. Since it's only one row, we're going to multiply that by our column right here. So we're going to do 1 times 4, 2 times 5, and then 3 times 6. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 1 times 4. So 1 times 4. 2 times 5. And then 3 times 6. Now, if that really makes like too much, it confuses you a little bit because it kind of looks like dimensions, let's fix that. I just thought about that when I was writing it. That might look like the same thing. So let me write it like this. So 1 times 4, 2 times 5, 3 times 6. So we're going to take that row, multiply by the column. So I'm going to mark this out here. Let's not look at that part, so that way we don't confuse that with our dimensions. So we have that going. So what we're going to do now that we are multiplying 1 times 4, 2 times 5, 3 times 6, the last portion is to add these together. So here, 1 times 4 is 4, plus 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 times 6 is 18. All right, so we're going to add those together, and we're going to find out what our answer is. So 4 plus 10 is 14, plus 18. And then we add these together, 8 and 4 is 12. And we have 1 plus 1, and then the extra one that comes up, which is 32. So our matrix is just going to be a 1 by 1. So it's a 1 row, 1 column. So this has 1 row, 1 column. And the answer is just 32. Okay, so again, we take a row, multiply it by a column. Row times a column. All right, so that was an easy one. That was pretty easy there. Now, what we're going to have to do next, I'm going to give you a bigger one. And this one, you actually have to do a little bit more work with it. So stick with me, guys. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. We got this. But again, it's going to be a little bit more work, guys. I know it's going to be. I'm not going to say this one's going to be very easy. It's going to be a little bit more work. All right, so we're still going to multiply it. We're going to do it with these two matrices. I'm going to call this matrix A. This is 2, 3, 4, 7. All right, and then B is going to be 0, 1, 5, 6. All right, so again, I'm going to multiply these. And I'm going to do A times B. All right, we're going to talk about our dimensions going on here. And again, if you're watching the video and I just wrote that down fast and you didn't get a chance to write it down, pause the video, write it down, and then play it again. Continue playing it so you can actually pick up where we left off. All right, so here we have our matrix here. So this is 2 rows, 2 columns. So 2 by 2, 2 rows, 2 columns. Same thing here. We have a 2 by 2 again because it's 2 rows, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 rows, 2 columns. And again, we say if these inside portions are the same, which they are, our answer is going to, our dimensions, the answer to, the answer dimension, well, the dimension of our answer, that's what I'm trying to say, is going to be a 2 by 2. So our dimensions for our answer is going to be a 2 by 2. So when we work this whole thing out, we're going to end up with a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this the answer matrix out big because we're going to have to fill some stuff in here. So I'm going to draw it about this big here. And that might not be enough space, but we'll see. If we have to, I'll extend it and make it a little bigger, which I think we might have to. But I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, so like I said before, at this again, we're going to put some work here. We said we're going to do multiply a row by a column. Now, with this, just like before we talked about finding our elements, we said where they intersect, that's the spot that we're looking for, or the number we're looking for. When it comes to this portion, whenever whatever this part intersects, that's the part that we're actually going to write the answer. So I'm going to write this out. I'm going to use a pencil on it. All right, so again, like I said, we're going to see where they come together. So here, this is row 1. This is column 1 there. So we're going to do this column, this row, and this column. So we're going to multiply this, and where it comes together is right here. So our answer is going to go in this first spot right here. Where they intersect is where your answer is going to go. So in this first spot, just like we did before, we multiplied and then we added, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to multiply 2 times 0. And then we're going to do 3 times 5. So row and a column. Row and a column. So 2 times 0 plus 3 times 5. And we'll work that out in a few minutes. All right, so that goes there. So now the next one, we're going to go ahead and do this row again. And we're going to do this column right here. And our answer is going to go right here where they intersect. So kind of like what we did with elements. So we're going to do 2 times 1. Let me do this in black here. So 2 times 1 plus 3 times 6. and let me zoom in just a little bit more. Maybe it might be able to see easier. All right, so again, we're going to do 2 times 0 plus 3 times 5. Then we did 2 times 1 and 3 times 6. All right, and that went in that spot there. All right, so let's go to our second row now. We're going to go this row here, and then we're going to do our first column. And where they intersect is where we're going to put our answer. So 4 times 0. I got to write it a little bit smaller so I can fit the other one in there. All right, and then we're going to do 7 times 5. So we do again row and a column. So 4 times 0, 7 times 5. So again, row, column, row, column, row, column, and then we're going to do row in this column here. All right, so again, we're going to do for the last one, this row right here, this column right here. So again, multiply a row by a column. All right, so again, we're going to put it right here because that's where they intersect. So we're going to do 4 times 1, and then we do 7 times 6. So all we're going to do now, we've done all the hard work. So we did a row by a column, row by a column, row by a column, row by a column. So we did all the hard work. So now we have to just simplify everything down. And so here, we know that's 2 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. So for this spot, we're going to put 15 as our answer. And I'm going to rewrite it so you guys can see it. We can actually see everything as our answer. All right, for this one here, we're going to do 2 times 1, which is 2. 3 times 6, which is 18. We add them together, that's 20. 20. All right, come here to the next one. 4 times 0 is 0. 7 times 3 is 35. So here we're going to just get 0 plus 35 is 35. All right, and our last one, that's 4 times 1 is 4. 7 times 6 is 42. We add those two together, that's 46. All right, so our final answer, I'm going to rewrite it over here. Our final answer is going to be 15, 20, 35, and 46. All right, so I just showed you how to do it by hand. So with this, again, I've showed you how to do it by Desmos, showed you how to do it by hand. You're getting ready to see how to do it by the 84 calculator. When it comes to the ACT, again, if you can't remember this, how to do it by hand, that's perfectly fine. If this was too much for you guys, it's okay. Just make sure you know how to do it by the 84 calculator if you're taking the ACT. And if you're just doing it in regular class because you're not going to take the ACT, you can use Desmos, desmos.com/matrix. You can use that. So there's multiple ways of doing this, guys. So if this way by hand did not work for you, do not make your mind focus on this and try to figure it out. You have 2 other ways of doing it. So again, if it doesn't make sense, focus on the ways that make sense to you. All right, cool. So that's it for by hand, guys. And then now let's go ahead and go into doing it by the 84 calculator.